exactly, Bob, what is on the ballot?
Well, what is on the ballot is the initiative to provide in-state tuition for illegal aliens. If their parents have filed taxes, not necessarily paid taxes, and they can provide residency. Look, I think with this ballot referendum, what we have is a very clear choice. Marylanders are either going to respect, uphold, and apply the law, or they're going to bend it to accommodate those who have broken it. There is not much in between. The law will win or the law will lose. When you think about all of the issues and bills related to illegal immigration, I understand that on the surface, the DREAM Act seems like a no-brainer. The poor kids, illegal aliens, dragged here through no fault of their own by their parents. Here they are, and America is all they know. Let's help them out. But, Blaine, and you know better than anybody, like most public policy, reality becomes a lot different when you dig into the details. Mm-hmm. Here's the very obvious, in my opinion, and I've been around the state talking to a lot of people. I think we understand these illegal alien kids throughout Maryland already went to high school on the Maryland state taxpayer dime, and they got a good education. Yep. Why? Because
Frederick County, that's 12 average. Now, this means that if they don't need to be taught English, average 12,500, but we know the average does not apply because generally they need more services than the average.
A very fair point. So they went to high school on the Maryland taxpayer, and if they really want to, Blaine, they can go to college, any university in Maryland, because unfortunately, a lot of schools, particularly the community colleges, really don't give a hoot about immigration status. So they can already attend virtually any college or university in Maryland. No one is stopping them. They just don't get in-state tuition.
They don't get the privilege and benefit of what a legal citizen gets.
Yeah, look, and the entire state of Maryland has a sanctuary policy. So an illegal alien doesn't have to be worried about being arrested, and even if they were, the new deportation policies of the Obama administration would give them a pass. Now, the one exception to that, by the way, is in Frederick County, because you've got a sheriff there. And by the way, if you see Jenkins or if he's listening, I work with sheriffs across the country, and I want to say that Charles Jenkins of Frederick County is one of the most decent, fair, but firm and principled men I have ever known in law enforcement. He lives by right and wrong, and he does a very good job of upholding the rule of law in your corner of Maryland, and it is a very difficult job to do.
Yep, we call him Sheriff Chuck. So,
good man. So, aside from Frederick County, given that these kids are already able to attend college anywhere they want, given that they're not lawfully residing in Maryland, let alone lawfully residing in the U.S., living in Maryland is a pretty good proposition. So do you really need to go the extra step and reward them in November with taxpayer-subsidized in-state tuition? And if so, why stop there?
Now, talk about it. Well, first of all, is there a fiscal note? Was there ever a fiscal note done? What is the true fiscal note? Because we've heard things all over the Richter scale. Has anyone ever said, truly, what? And first of all, in a bankrupt state, and I call this a bankrupt state with O'Malley's policies. This governor has raised taxes and fees 24 times since he's been in office. They're just spending money right and left. Do we have a fiscal note at all? In terms of knowing the impact?
Yeah, let's talk about the money. I mean, the last thing Maryland needs is more illegal immigration costs. That's what you're going to get if the DREAM Act is not defeated. Maryland taxpayers, you are already paying almost $2 billion a year right now to subsidize about 250,000 illegal aliens in the state.
$2 billion with a B.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the impact of the DREAM Act, the in-state tuition, the subsidy, which is what that is. In-state tuition is a taxpayer subsidy. Let's be very clear about that. But no one has really provided a very good number on that, Blaine. I mean, depending on who you listen to, the number of those qualifying, the number of illegal aliens qualifying would range from about 135 to almost 16,000. And the cost would be anywhere from about $778,000 to $3.5 million. So, before this nutty thing goes through, good fiscal, sound political management would dictate that you might want to have a commission with some nonpartisan economists taking a look at this thing before you pull the lever.
Absolutely. Now, talk about some of the fallacies. You know, Frank's in the basement. He's my liberal sidekick here, and he always says, yes, but Bob, this is all part of the path to citizenship. There is no path. Tell me what's this path that they're talking about?
Well, I would say this: it is the first of many other steps, and we learn our lessons from California. California several years ago put into place in-state tuition for illegal aliens, but that wasn't enough. So a couple of years later, they had legislation that went on and beyond and provided in-state grants, loans, and scholarships. And now California is trying to push for full legalization. So to some extent, Frank is right. This is just the first step towards many others. It will not stop at in-state tuition.
Absolutely. But I mean, there is no path on the federal level for these illegals to become citizens.
Not only is there no path to become illegal, but it has been against the law since 1986 in Maryland and in 49 other states for an illegal alien to work. So, as a Maryland taxpayer, you've got to ask yourself, I suppose, why would you invest by providing taxpayer subsidies and in-state tuition to illegal aliens when, if they come out of college, they can't work? That seems a rather poor investment.
Now, what's some of the data that you all have seen about which way Maryland will go on this particular issue? Because obviously, you know, they're trying to. They're tugging at the heartstrings. They're playing the compassion card, as the liberals always do, and saying, "Oh, we've got these." It's for the children.
Yeah, it is a toss-up. I've talked to Republican state legislators, even in Maryland, in Democratic districts, and they claim that their Democrat constituents are leaning against this. We'll see. It is hard to say. But you know, I think on a final note here, I mean, in the broad context, this DREAM Act is yet another benefit that provides yet another incentive for more and more illegal aliens to enter the state. And ultimately, Blaine, I mean, we've got to get control of this situation at the local level. It clearly is not going to be done here in Washington, and that involves, yes, border enforcement, but it involves at the state level denying benefits, driver's licenses, credit cards, jobs, and, yep, subsidized college tuition, because there just has to be a common sense limit. Otherwise, that honeypot of benefits continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger and impose its cost and impact on legal residents.
I mean, I cannot wrap my mind around why we cannot say as a society we're going to put legal Americans, legal citizens first. If you're not here legally, sorry, you don't get any services. You're not here legally. I mean, you would have, in my opinion, so much self-deportation, and you would stop the flow at the border if we just said that one simple thing. Sorry, you can't get into the government trough if you're not here legally.
I have a theory on that, and I know, you know, I think it's that the DREAM Act makes people feel, Marylanders, that they have a moral obligation to help these illegal alien kids. All right. But if you accept that theory, then won't you have that same moral obligation then for the next round of illegal aliens who bring their kids here, and the round after that, and so on and so forth, which would happen because once you apply one benefit, it creates an incentive for more illegal immigration. So it becomes this merry-go-round of flawed morality, and the unmistakable message to people all over the world is get to America by any means, bring your kids, go to Maryland. Maryland citizens will feel morally obligated to give you a pass and give your kids in-state tuition. You know, I believe that we do need to respect, uphold, and apply the law, not to bend it to accommodate law-breaking and create more.
Do you know, if you just go to Google and put in sanctuary areas, there's one you pull up that they rate Montgomery County, Maryland, the second most desirable area to go to based on the services offered if you're illegal. Montgomery County, Maryland.
Was that the Fox News article of the top 5 travel tourist destinations for illegal aliens?
I've seen it different places, but I mean, I don't know if it was that one or not. But, you know, I'm sitting here. We're Frederick County. They're right next door. I mean, that's one reason why we're thankful we have Sheriff Chuck here, is because obviously, you know, if Montgomery County wants to break their county, they've got financial problems, then have at it. But, you know, I just can't believe that Montgomery County, Maryland ranks up there as one of the most desirable sanctuary areas in the country.
Well, it is, and we actually put together, I actually wrote an article, Fox News, about a year ago, and we ranked the entire state of California as the top tourist travel destination. It was kind of a tongue-in-cheek parody of where to go, sort of a AAA triptych for illegal aliens. But yeah, Montgomery County, Maryland, and increasingly the entire state of Maryland is becoming a sanctuary city. And, you know, with these bad economic times, limited community resources, we're in sort of what I call a sociological triage. You've got to figure out who is going to get apportioned the limited amount of community resources and in the private sector jobs. Well, most people, using common sense, would say legal permanent residents, or those immigrants who have come here the right way.
Yeah, you know, my question is, you know, unfortunately, you know, we have not heard about this on the national stage with the president's race. Do you think that at some point I mean, obviously, I'm voting with Romney. He's far. I mean, we got to get rid of this guy that's in the White House. But are we ever going to start talking about illegal aliens and talking about the border in this national race?
Well, as far as immigration goes during a campaign, any campaign, you know, is what we're getting from the.
Why do they run from the issue? Even Republicans, some Republicans run from it. What's wrong with them?
We are getting the least amount of clarity on immigration when we need it the most. The voters want to hear solutions and detailed reforms, but the candidates are just avoiding. And what we're hearing are calibrated statements from both sides, designed to appease both sides, which really doesn't solve anything. They're sort of hopscotching their way through it. I mean, for example, Blaine, during all of the Republican debates, we heard all of the candidates saying they wanted to secure the border, which, of course, nobody disagrees with. But then after that, all we really get are vague promises for one of three things, either modernization, a permanent solution, or comprehensive immigration reform. What does that mean?
Yep. All right, Bob, I thank you for taking time out on a Friday at 5 p.m. to talk to us a little bit.
Our pleasure. It's a big issue, and do give it some thought. Thanks, Blaine.
And we'll talk to you again later.
Bye.
Thank you. Bob Dane with the FAIR organization. We're going to take a break here. You're listening to the Blaine Young Show.
I do have good news for those of you who enjoyed the interview earlier this hour.
Which one?
Well, you just had one this hour about the DREAM Act in Maryland.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the good news. If you don't like the DREAM Act and you're going to vote against it, what if it passes anyway? Hey, there's still good news, because the Maryland DREAM Act is likely to benefit state and local governments to the tune of $6.2 million per year. Did you know that, Blaine?
Well, I know all the inaccurate information that you put out, but you know, I'm not going to sit here.
I'll tell you who put it out.
What, the O'Malley machine?
No.
Who?
The Maryland Institute for Policy Analysis and Research at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Oh, yeah. You mean they get state funding? Let's not lose the sight of the higher principle here. It's not just dollars and cents. There's an issue of right and wrong and the rule of law, which the DREAM Act violates. It's an amnesty, and like all amnesty, it rewards illegal behavior, encourages more, and is fundamentally unfair to those who play by the rules.
Yeah, I bring up dollars and cents because you all do.
But what do you mean?
You said that.
I mean, come on now, Frank.
It's going to cost.
Tell me how there's more taxable income when they're not allowed to work. Because you don't believe in the rule of law. You don't believe in the law, and you don't have a problem that people violate the law. We're taking a break because it's Friday and I want to sing, and I'm done with you.